I'm alive! This might be a typical way to start a movie for people that have not been present on their online platform for a while. But it was literally the last comment that I did get on my YouTube movies, whether or not I was alive. The last time I showed myself on here was with oxygen tubes and hospital appointments and transplant talks. So it's a bit more literal, perhaps, than sometimes with others, maybe. What happened was that I received a double lung transplant about 1.5 years ago. And it's been a trip. Things are going well, especially now it's going better still all the time. But it's been a bit of a puzzle. Obviously, recovery from surgery like this, I don't think is easy for anyone. And it's like, it could have been much, much worse. I'm very happy with how things went, but it's just been, ups and downs. Some bigger, some smaller. For the people that are Dutch and maybe watched some of my stuff previously already, maybe it's annoying that I speak English now, and you might be wondering why. And the simple answer to that is because I feel like it. The future is globalization, and I want this channel to be ready for that. So here we are, speaking English. I'm sure you can follow. To very briefly sum up how it sort of went, about 1.5 years ago, I got a call just when we were about to go to bed in the evening. After getting the call, first of all, it's not a given that the transplantation will actually go ahead because the organ is still being evaluated and anything could still happen, or you could be too sick yourself, so it was still pretty unsure if it actually would happen. But within 15 minutes, the ambulance was at my house to take me to the transplant center, and in the transplant center, again, we were sort of prepared the months prior to that a night like that could take hours, or like could be a long wait before there would be any clarity. But this was incredibly rushed, so I was taken from left to right to different tests and checks and talks and everything to make sure that I was in a good enough state for this big procedure. And then I think it only took a couple of hours really before we heard that it was going to be a go. It goes without saying that I am incredibly, incredibly grateful to my donor and his or her family. I don't know what their situation was. I don't know what happened to him or her that made him pass away. And I can only imagine the trauma and, what the family or the loved ones must have gone through. And to still make a decision like that, in a moment like that, to give a piece away of that person in order for someone else to continue living. I mean, there's no bigger way of showing love, I think. The surgery went well. There were a few challenges. Biggest hurdle, I think, was that my right lung was sort of stuck to my chest from previous infections and also previous surgeries. So I did lose a lot of blood. Actually needed more blood transfusions than the total amount of blood I own. But the team was obviously amazing. They fixed me. And after about 3 days of being kept asleep, they woke me up, and that's when the real recovery started, which went a lot faster and better to begin with. They thought I would be in hospital for about 2 months, but I don't think I was even there for 1 month in the end. And then, of course, once you're home, there's still a lot of work to do, and very frequent checks back in the transplant center. For me, there were a few more hospitalizations afterwards as well. There were a few medicine-related dramas, because obviously you're on a lot of new drugs afterwards, some temporary and some lasting. So that's what I mean with it was a bit of a puzzle, and on smaller topics it still is. but we're getting there. I just wanted to make this little update, sort of open the way for myself again as well to post other movies if I feel like it, because the fact that I hadn't updated anything here made me hold back on posting other movies as well. So hopefully that blockage is now gone. At the moment, like these days, I basically try to figure out, now what? What's next? It might sound really stupid, but it's confusing at times to suddenly have so much more freedom back in your life. Because obviously when you're that sick, it's very clear what you need to be doing moment per moment to basically stay alive. So you don't have a lot of freedom, but you do have a very clear path most of the time, which is not what you want. And obviously you work towards this freedom all the time, but it is how it is. And it is what you apparently get used to a little bit, because I remember the first time I could stay away from transplant clinic for 2 weeks at a time. That was great, of course, but at the same time I was like, now what do I do? What am I supposed to do with my days if it's not medical? So it's been a bit of a search, and it still is. But at the same time, life is so much easier and more fun with that than it was with my own lungs still. And I'm now more confident every day that I'm going to find the right thing for me, and work towards a bit more stable energy level, for example, still, while working on the way, figuring out what I can and want to do. I guess I'm gonna show a bit more of all of that again here. I hope all of you are doing well and that the COVID world hasn't been too hard on you. And I'll see you soon.